Welcome to House Becomes a Home. I'd like to introduce myself. I am Verna. I'm a 44-year-old mother of 4. I'm a homeschooling mother. My children's ages range between 10, 15, almost 16, and 17. And even though it is my first video that I'm doing on this channel, I'm not new to YouTube. I actually have another channel called Grace Abounds in Deepest Waters. It is all about homeschooling, and I initially created that channel to help parents who would like to homeschool their children, but at the time that I started, there was no information on social media with regards to homeschooling in South Africa. While there's many parents that is homeschooling their children and having YouTube channels other parts of the world, in South Africa there was very few parents with YouTube channels that actually could give us some kind of guidance. And that is what I've dedicated the last 11 years of my life to. But this year I would actually like to start another channel, which is this channel, to showcase some of the other interests that I do have. As parents, we wear so many hats, or as mothers, we wear so many hats. In my case, I'm the teacher, I'm also the mother, I'm also the wife, I'm also the homemaker, the cleaner, the cook, or the chef. I'm so many things to so many people, and I often find that I put my likes and interests on the back burner so that I can be everything to everybody. And this year, one of my plans that I have for myself for this year is to actually, in some ways, put myself first. Recently, I listened to someone speaking about the lady in the Bible that had a little bit of oil and meal or flour, and this lady had so little, and the prophet asked her, "First make for me." And so many times as mothers, our cups is basically empty, but we are still pouring from it. And on my vision board for this year, I've actually got full cups, full cups. Listen again. Full cups, fold cups, full cups. So when the prophet blessed this lady after she made him food, he showed her that her oil will never run dry and her flour will never empty. She was to go and get buckets or containers from wherever she could so that they could refill. And my prayer for myself and for you for this year is that we allow God to fill us. We do things that will fill us so that we are able to fill others. This year, I have every intention of looking better after myself. I have every intention of exercising, eating better, doing all the things that can get Verna as healthy and as filled as possible, be it naturally or spiritually, so that I am able to fill others. As you see by my title, this video is basically about my vision for this year. About 2 years ago, as part of our homeschooling first day tradition, if I can call it that, we decided to start our year off with creating vision boards. Since I've seen it on social media how various people make their own vision boards, I decided just for the fun of it, I'm not just going to create one for myself, but I'm also going to get my children to create vision boards for themselves. That first year, we live in a gated community. We took a walk down to our security office, and that's where we get our weekly newspapers for our area. We collected some newspaper. We also got a few magazines and so on, and we decided to cut out pictures that we will stick onto our vision boards. My kids cut out Xboxes, cell phones, all the things that a little 10-year-old boy or a 15, at the time he was 13-year-old boy, 8-year-old boys, and a 14-year-old girl would love to have. They cut out all the things, and I also cut out all the things, and I also decided to do mine digitally. So I went on to Pinterest and I looked up a whole lot of things that I'd like to put on my Pinterest, on my vision board, and not thinking much of it, we just created the boards and we went on with life. I kid you not, a week later we were invited to someone in our church's house, a newly married young man and woman, married couple with 2 little ones. And the man of the house told my boys, listen boys, I was young, I was living alone, and a lot of my time I spent playing Xbox. Since I have a wife and I have children, this box is just laying here, it's gathering dust, and no one's playing it. So when you go home today, you take this box with you. Needless to say, we are believers. We now create our vision boards every year. It's supposed to be a tradition that we follow on the first day of our new school year. But my kids' vision boards has already been created. I don't know what we're going to do on our first day now, but their vision boards has already been created. Daddy, who isn't part of our school, also started creating a vision board since last year. And my vision board's ready, ready for the new year. I also want to say that first year when my boys got their Xbox, not even a week later, I had, for the fun of it, we have a Yaris, Toyota Yaris, a 5-seater. And as I've said, I am a mother to 4 children, which makes our family a family of 6. So wherever we go, we've got 4 little ones sitting on the back seat. Sometimes it goes off very well. Sometimes it doesn't go off so well. When I only had 2 children, and mind you, it was 7 years later that we got the other 2, because the other 2 is twins. When I only had 2, they sat in their car seats until they were quite big, and they often remind me, Mommy, the twins wasn't sitting in car seats at the time when we never had our car. The twins were sitting on their bums in the car, and I know it's not safe. I know that children are supposed to sit in a car seat at least until 11 or 12 years old. But they shared that seat and they would fight about my space and your feet is touching me and. So in my mind, I was telling myself that sooner or later this Yaris is not going to be enough for us to get from point A to point B anymore. That we will probably soon start getting tickets because we are technically an overload. Albeit 4 children, but there are 4. You're supposed to be 3 on the back seat. And on my vision board, I just decided I'm going to put a 7-seater car. I don't really like 7-seaters because a lot of them look to me like taxis. And that's because a lot of the taxi guys buy some of these brands because it's a bigger form of transport. If you don't want a big minibus taxi, a 7-seater, the reputable brands that there was at the time, most of them were taxis. So when I saw a Triber, which is not the top model on the list of cars, but I never saw Tribers at the time that was being used as taxis. And I told myself I want one of those because it doesn't look like a taxi. I think it will be safer. I think there's less chance of it getting stolen. So on my vision board, I decided to go and put a gold Triber. I also put on my vision board that I need a cell phone, as did basically all of my children. Amongst other things, that's what was on my vision board. About a week or two after I created my vision board, my husband told me, listen, our cell phones is due for an upgrade. So let's go see what our network provider has available. And we went to our service provider. And lo and behold, that day we went home with 2 brand new phones. Because we got 2 brand new phones, this obviously meant that my old phone would have to go to someone, and my daughter was the proud owner of my old cell phone. Her old cell phone then went to one of the twins, and the same happened on my husband's side. My husband got his new phone, his old phone went to my son, and the twins was also blessed. So within a week or two of doing my vision board, I had a new cell phone. By that year, June, we were driving a Triber. I'm not going to go into all the details because there is a story that goes with it, a God story that goes with it. But yes, we were driving a brand new Triber as well. When I done my vision board in January, I had no idea that we would even be able to afford another car with bills that we had to pay for the roof of our heads, water and lights, electricity, and all the rest of it that goes with running a household. I had no idea that we were able to afford another car because remember our Yaris was quite old and paid up. And this would be money that we would have to scratch out somewhere to be able to pay that monthly payments for a car as well as insurance. So for the fun of it, I put this car on my vision board, and God at the right time made this happen. And it's not even as if we overextended ourselves. When I look at it now, I'm like, God, where did the money come from? Because it's almost as if we are still in the same position that we were before we bought that car. So, having said that, we've decided that we're going to do a vision board again this year, and I will insert my vision board here so that you can see what my vision board looks like for this year. There's quite a few things that I have my eye on. And I must also say that many times when you have a vision board, you think of people that is just putting on a whole bunch of material things on a board, and they expect it to happen. It would be nice if they can all happen. There's a lot of my things in the past that never happened that was on my vision board, but there is a lot of things that did happen. I'm fully aware that it is not because I manifested it. I'm fully aware that everything we have was blessings from God. It is things that we would like to have, but we place it in God's hands, and at the right time, if He thinks it's something that will benefit us, that will be a blessing to us, that will not make our heads go big, God Himself will make it happen for us. So my vision board does not only have materialistic things on it, my vision board also includes that I'd like to spend more time with my Creator. My vision board also includes that I'd like to spend more time with each member of my family and give them individual attention, especially my husband. So I'm going to go through my vision board with you, and you'll see all the things that I envision for this year with the help of God. Okay, so while my vision board is up there, I'm going to go through it and we can discuss what I've got planned for 2026. Okay, the first thing that I have on my vision board is a house. A house has been on my vision board for the last 2 years, and it's always been a desire of ours to get a bigger place, because just like our car was getting too small for us, our beautiful little home is also getting too small for us. So it would actually be quite nice if we could get a house this year. I'd love to have a bedroom for each of my kids, but I would also just be happy if my girl could have her privacy, and my boys could have their privacy. Yeah, so a bigger house where each child can enjoy their own bed and their own privacy. As a bonus, it would be nice if it could be a barn house. It's something I see a lot in America. And if we should be in the position to build ourselves, I'd love to build it in a barn house fashion. I do think it will be a lot cheaper because it is a lot of like corrugated iron that goes into it, and not necessarily the traditional brick and mortar houses. So yeah, I've gotten keys for a brand new house, and then I've got the style in which I'd like to decorate it. A lot of people doesn't know that after school, I didn't just go straight into working. I did go work, but I did study as well. And what I studied was interior designing. It's always been a passion of mine, and I've tried to decorate my house in such a way that reflects that, using the rules of interior designing, sort of partly feng shui and everything else that goes with it. I've also decorated my house in such a way that it is child friendly. I'm not a pet lover, but it is also pet friendly. And coincidentally, the things that I've chosen for my house is not the most expensive things. However, it is aligned with what is in fashion when it comes to house interiors at the moment. I'd like to elaborate on it in future videos. That's the whole purpose of this particular channel. I'd like to explore my interest when it comes to interior decorating, interior designing. And as you can see on my vision board, the colors that I'd like to incorporate more of. My house is already aligned with that, but I'd like to go more into it. I've also always wanted to have my bedroom set up very nicely. I've worked on a lot of DIY things that I'd like to incorporate in my room, but I haven't fully put it in. I don't know, partly it's because I don't see myself in this house for a very long time anymore, and partly it's because I just don't have the time to always do it. But I think if you really love something, you will make the time for it. So I'd like to do up my bedroom this year, whether we move out or not. If we move out, it's a bonus because then my ideas can be incorporated into the new house. If not, it will be this bedroom. I will create something I love with what I have. I must also say, when it comes to the house, towards the end of last year, we've started looking at houses. So I believe it's just a matter of time before that's going to happen. Another thing that I've got on my vision board is that when it comes to my homemaking, I'd like to dedicate more time into meal prepping. To people that knows us knows that we basically go to church every day of the week. For my husband and my eldest son, they go to church 6 days a week, or let me not say go to church, but they listen to a sermon 6 days out of the 7 days of the week. And for the rest of us in the house, myself, my daughter, and the twins, who is 10 years old, we listen to a sermon 5 days a week. Okay, so Tuesdays and Fridays, we formally go to church in the Monday to Friday week. Or let me say, Tuesdays, we all go to church. Wednesdays, we listen to a sermon at home. Thursdays, my husband and my son goes to church. Fridays, we all go to church. Saturdays, we listen to a sermon at home. And Sundays, we all go to church. I'm Afrikaans, and there is this joke that Jonathan Rubin says, van kerk, kerk, kerk. That's us. We go to church all the time. And it's not that we have a problem with it, we actually love it. um, yeah, so apart from getting closer to God, we go to church a lot. So I'd like to spend time on my own with God, and that's why you see my Bible there. But what I was going to say is, between homeschooling every day and going to church almost every day, and I've got a child that does extra lessons every second day, I have very little time to myself. And that's basically because I think I'm not a good planner. I'd love to start planning our meals properly so that I don't necessarily have to be cooking every day. That's time I could have spent on something else. It's time that I could have dedicated to exercising, which you will also see on my vision board. I plan to spend more time exercising. My health has actually been deteriorating. Currently, it is Tuesday. It's the first Tuesday of the year. I'm not going to church because I don't feel well. And I think if I dedicated more time towards my health, I will have more good days than bad days. Towards the end of last year, I had a lot of bad days. And that's because I am pouring from an empty cup. One of my sayings that I have on my vision board is, filled cups, full cups. Listen again. Filled cups, full cups. And it makes me think about that lady that poured from those overflowing oil and flour that she was blessed with. I don't know if we are all Bible readers, but there's a story in the Bible where the prophet of God asked the lady to make him a meal first, and she knew that she's just got a little bit of oil and a little bit of flour, and once she and her son has eaten it, they're just gonna die. Well, the prophet ate. She was obedient. She fed the prophet first, and she was blessed with oil that runneth over and flour that didn't finish. And only once her containers was filled that she was told, go and get your neighbor's containers so you can also refill theirs for them. And that is my plan for this year. Not only naturally, but spiritually, I'd love to fill up my cup so that I can fill others' cups as well, whether it is for my children, whether it's for my husband, or just my neighbor. That is one of my mottos for this year. I'm going to look after Verna so that Verna can look after others. Something else that I'd like to work on this year is my sleeping patterns. I am very guilty of sleeping just a few hours per night, and that's a big contributor to my health as well. I'd like to prioritize 8 hours of sleep per night. If I can sleep 8 hours of sleep, I would be very happy. I'm not a morning person, and I wake up groggy most mornings because I spend a lot of my evenings researching homeschool on my cell phone. And we all know what happens when you are with blue light the whole night. It robs you of your sleep, and it robs you of your peace and of mind the next day. I'd like to prioritize my sleep so I can be a better version of myself in the day. I've also last year started working on my hair. This is something that I've been working on every year. Since last year, I realized that moisturizing my hair is something my hair really loves. I mostly keep my hair plaited in the week. And thank goodness I go to a church where we are not materialistic. We are not in competition with each other. I can go to church like this every day, even on a Sunday, and it's not going to be an issue. No one's going to talk about my streets and highways that I've parted my hair in. How we go to church, as long as you look presentable. It is not what you wear, it is not how you look. As long as you look presentable, no one's going to say anything about you where I go to church. It's one of the things that I find such a blessing. We are in this church since my eldest son, who is turning 16 this month. Asher was the first baby dedicated in the first service of this church where we're at. And I come from a place where clothing was very important. How you done your hair was very important. I kid you not when I say that there was people that would wear clothing once to church and you'd never see that clothing again. I go to a church where people is very humble. Some of them has been blessed with so much, but you will never say it because they are such humble people. And I think that is what keeps us grounded and humble as well. So where did this go to when it comes to hair? On my vision board, I've got that I'm going to look more after my hair. I'm going to continue plaiting my hair 6 days of the week, and maybe on a Sunday I might not put on that wig and I might go to church just like this. Or maybe I'll loosen my hair and have it loose for the day. Or maybe I'll just have the wig on. That's entirely up to how I feel on that Sunday. Another thing that I've got is I've got a rebounder, which is basically a tiny trampoline. I'm going to make more time to get onto my trampoline. I'm going to make more time to do some weightlifting because I've got weights as well. I basically have no excuse. If I want to exercise, I've got the equipment. It is up to me to make the time to use the equipment. So I'm also going to use this channel to keep me accountable for exercising so I can look after Verna. And then the last thing I have on here is that the second last, I'm going to drink more water, less sodas. I'm totally addicted to drinking cool drink. And that's something I'm planning to work on this year. I can eat healthy. I can do all the things, but I am so into cool drink. And you're going to keep me accountable to that as well. And then the last thing that I do have on is the fact that I'd like to make more time for YouTube. Like I said, I have a YouTube channel. I haven't been doing anything on there for a very long time. I am going to work very hard on making more videos on that YouTube channel so that it can do what I intended it to do in the very first place. So that's my plans for 2026. I know that, and as I say on my vision board, we make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. So God is going to help me to stick to what I have thought that I want to do for this year. And then my motto for this year is also that without a vision, the people perish. And that goes for my natural life as well as my spiritual life. I have a vision naturally and also spiritually. And let's see where it takes us for 2026. The last thing I want to leave you with is 2027 is promised to no one. And I think that so many times we so excited when it is New Year's Day and 12 o'clock on the 31st, going on to the 1st of January. We're so overexcited that sometimes we forget to thank God for bringing us into the new year. I must be honest, in the last few years, I have actually thought a lot about this. I am a diabetic, and the thought does cross my mind at times, am I going to be here for the next New Year's Day? Or for the next New Year? So, if there's one thing that I've learned in what I believe, a quote from William Marion Branham is, live as if God is coming tomorrow, but plan as if he's coming in 1,000 years. And that's exactly what I've done. I'm going to trust God to order my steps, but I am going to plan as if he's coming in 1,000 years. And I am going to try my best to live as if he's coming tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you will subscribe. I hope you will like. I hope you will comment, because I do plan to be on here quite often. Like I said, I am going to use this channel to keep me accountable, firstly. Secondly, I'm going to use this channel to also showcase the other sides of to do what I love on here. And I'm hoping that I can learn from you and that you will learn from me. God bless.